Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing better than last night's catastrophic result where, I mean, to be honest, the scoreline was flattering. Let's be real here. 3-1, we got a goal. I mean, it really should have finished about 6 or 7. Let's be honest. You know, we played a lot worse than 3-1 suggests. But at the end of the day, it's just a terrible, terrible time. And today's about Frank Lampard. It's the only topic that we can discuss. Let's be honest, Frank Lampard is under huge pressure now. Huge pressure. By the way, if you haven't heard my thoughts on yesterday's result, you can catch them right here. My match review from last night is attached, so make sure you click onto that and have a look if you haven't already. But Frank Lampard yesterday, it's clear that there's huge concern now. Huge concern within the club. And there was an article that came out immediately after the game yesterday. Immediately after, full time, an article was released by The Athletic and written by two Chelsea-connected journalists, Liam Twomey and Simon Johnson, two very reliable voices that are seriously connected with the ins and outs of Chelsea Football Club and what happens behind the scenes. An article at full time was released saying this: Frank Lampard's job is under serious threat and Chelsea have already begun making alternative plans. Now, Liam Twomey, one of the writers of this article, has clarified the situation for us and clarified exactly what's going on, why it was released at full time, immediately after the whistle. That tells us that was in the drafts, waiting to be released, which gives us the suggestion that this news was before the Man City performance. So what's it like now? Anyway, let's hear from Liam Twomey. He writes this: some have found the timing of this distasteful. But the reality is there's no good time to run a story like this one. I'll never take pleasure in a potential sacking, but if conversations like this are taking place and we know about it, our job is to relay what's happening. Now, someone kindly put an if to try and make it look like, okay, well, it's just based on an if then. Well, Liam goes on to say this: they are taking place. We wouldn't report something as big as this lightly. Our credibility is on the line. Another person has asked this: why did you have this ready to release pretty much as soon as the final whistle went? Liam goes on to say, because we were waiting to see if Chelsea's performance/result would give us a reason to hold off and check back with our sources to see if things might improve. They didn't. Instead, today only made things worse. Another person asked pretty much the same question, asking, so if he won, this wouldn't have come out? And Liam clarifies with, if the result and performance had been more positive, the responsible thing to do would be to wait and check back with our sources to see if the situation had changed at all. A convincing win over Man City might have been huge in the current context, but that wasn't the case here. So this explains everything. This explains that the article that was released immediately after the game was written based on information prior to the Man City game. The board had already had concerns. The board were already looking at replacements. And then we lost to Man City in the way that we did. This is why I have been trying to say for quite a bit of time now, since these results have been happening, Roman will not hesitate. He won't hesitate. And this is why I was worried for Frank Lampard, because he wasn't changing anything. We don't even see a plan anymore. It's declined. It's declined hugely. And last night's performance was just a joke. I mean, I want to say a joke. It's borderline a joke. We saw nothing. And I refuse to think that players like N'Golo Kante, like Hakim Ziyech, bar he just came back from injury, but cool, still, Hakim Ziyech, Pulisic, Thiago Silva, I mean, Chilwell. I refuse to think that all these players are rubbish. They're not. They're not rubbish, and we know that. Because if not, none of us would have been excited for them to come to the club in the first place. Let's have it right. What's clear is there's no game plan. Our midfield yesterday looked empty. It looked like no one was there. Defensively, we done nothing. And Roy Keane, funnily enough, for Sky Sports, went into more detail in regards to that and how no one was even bothering to put a tackle in. Which is true. Which just illustrates that these players look lost. They all look lost. They all look confused, baffled, like they don't know what to do. I can't understand how a footballer can come to that sort of level, especially a high-end Premier League Chelsea Football Club. I mean, come on. You know, Lampard will know better than anyone. But this is another problem. Lampard is now in a situation that he has experienced firsthand as a player, where he has seen managers come in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, and he's a player watching all of this happen. He's been in the role that all of these players now are in under him. He knows what it's like. So I'm surprised that Frank Lampard isn't trying to change things around, you know, at least tactically on the pitch. Now, apparently, there are things off the pitch happening. And this is where I had another concern about him losing the dressing room, and losing the dressing room because of matters off the pitch. The Athletic, in the article yesterday, went on to say this: Chelsea's on-pitch struggles are worsened by issues off it. The threat to Lampard's position increases as tensions between the manager and a number of players in his squad have been growing for some time. This is concerning. When you hear this, it's the end. It's the end. It's never been resolved under any other manager at Chelsea Football Club in the past. It always ends in a sacking. Always. So this is why, for me, the writing's on the wall. And I don't want to try and get too emotionally attached, because the last time I did that, I was broken. I am not allowing myself to be put into that position again. No, I refuse. When Mourinho was sacked for the second time, that's when I understood. Roman Abramovich doesn't give time. It's as simple as that. And if you want time, you got to ask Roman to sell up. And I've come to terms with it. The day that Jose got sacked the second time, I was distraught. I remember it in detail. I was at uni. I was in the middle of a lecture. I still had about half an hour of it to go. And I remember my phone buzzing, and I saw a message, and I thought, nah, this is a joke. This is a wind-up. Jose sacked. Now you're pulling my strings. No way. And I thought, let me have a look. And I checked, and I read the statement. My jaw hit the floor there. I don't remember what was taught in that lecture. I don't remember what was said. I remember just leaving with my jaw on the floor and just thinking, I can't believe this has happened. I can't believe we've done it again. We've just gotten rid of our greatest ever manager. This was meant to be a long-term project. This was meant to be Jose's second coming, and we stick with him for 10 years. Let me tell you something. In 2020, no manager will stay in the same way that Sir Alex Ferguson did, that Arsene Wenger did. That's gone. That's in the past. You want to know why? Because money is the number one priority in football now. Not even football. Football is not the number one priority in football anymore. Money is the number one priority in football. So I want to ask you guys, honestly, if you have this hope and this faith that somehow, somewhere, there's going to be a manager that stays for 15 years, please wake up and smell the coffee. That's gone. That's not happening again. Why? Because it's a results-based business. Time is money. It's as simple as that. If the results are not coming in, change. Done. That's it. Owners now are ruthless. I mean, look at West Brom, for goodness sakes. West Brom sacked Bilic after a 1-1 draw at Man City. You know, results weren't going their way. They went for Sam Allardyce. I mean, it doesn't look like it's gotten any better. But this is the thing. Owners and clubs now will look for an immediate change. They have to, because they are worried if they stick with the plan, it's only going to get worse. And with Chelsea and Frank Lampard, we have regressed. It's gone backwards. It's not like other teams where it started dodgy and it's getting better. Much like Man United. It started horrific. And look at them now. They're pretty much top. You know, Arsenal started... Well, for Arsenal, it's been a joke for years. But, you know, even now, Arteta seems to have found something. And he's been willing to change things and use other players and change the system. And it's clicked. Well, it clicked against us. We pretty much helped the process. We put the process into fast track. But with Chelsea, we look decent. And all of a sudden, it just looks like we've been figured out. We're not trying anything else tactically. We have no other plan. And it's just gone down. It's just declined. And now it looks like the players look like they've given up. It looks like they're all lost. It looks like they're all confused. It looks like there's no alternative plan to another situation. I mean, we went 1-0 down yesterday and everything fell apart. It was at that point where we knew. I had a flashback to flipping Antonio Conte, to Mourinho 15-16, to all those times where we make one mistake and that's it. The game's lost. That is what it felt like. For the first time since then, I felt it yesterday. We went 1-0 down and I knew it's done. We're losing tonight. Owners will not give time. Look at the managers currently at clubs. Klopp has been at Liverpool for 5 years pretty much. He is someone that Liverpool brought in terms of the timing and whatnot. It was a match made in heaven, let's be real. But even so, I think Klopp will only stay at Liverpool for a certain amount of time before they tell him thank you very much, they separate their ways and they go and get Steven Gerrard to come and pick up the pieces and to keep going with the legacy that Liverpool are trying to create here. I think that is the long-term goal for Liverpool. You look at other managers, look at Poch. He was at Tottenham for 5 years. He still got the chop. Why? Because Mourinho was available. Look at Burnley. Burnley have Sean Dyche. He's been there for 8 years. 8 years. Fair enough. That's the only one that I can say they're given time. The only one, and it doesn't look like he's getting sacked anytime soon, but you look at the objectives and what Burnley are trying to do and what they have and the resources, I mean, they can't get better. So it's logical to stick with a manager like Sean Dyche. Anyone else, you try and find me a manager that's been at a club for longer than 3 or 4 years. You won't find it. You won't find it. Not like before. There were loads of managers that had stayed at clubs for ages. Now, you won't find any. At Chelsea, it's no different. And this is Roman. You know, come on, wake up. It's not like we met him yesterday. This guy gets rid of managers for fun. Yeah? The moment we see things going wrong and there's no improvement, sorry, see you later. Gus Hiddink, hello mate, how are you? You alright? The usual? Yeah, come on in. We're waiting for you. That's how it's going to go, you know? It's as simple as that. So I'm not surprised with the reports that we're seeing. I'm not surprised, and I'm not going to try and get emotionally attached just because it's Frank Lampard. I understand. Frank Lampard, the player, that legacy is intact forever. That will never change. Chelsea could get relegated, and as far as I'm concerned, Frank Lampard as a player is a legend, a royalty. He's royalty at Chelsea. It's as simple as that. Alongside JT and Didier and Cech and Ashley Cole and all these players, these legends, you know, that have come through the door and done absolute wonders for us. Lampard is one of the pillars. Yeah, that doesn't change. But Lampard, the manager, we got to separate the two. Right now, it just looks like he's out of his depth. He's out of ideas. He doesn't know how to change it. He doesn't know what to do. There's nothing. There's nothing. It's as simple as there's nothing. Based on even yesterday's performance, we saw nothing. Even though the lineup is pretty much what everyone wanted. The lineup pretty much had everyone. I mean, I had my reservation in terms of Mason Mount and Kai Havertz. I would have swapped the two. But apart from that, we were all pretty much satisfied. Yet we saw nothing. We saw nothing. I can't believe it's just the players that have just turned to absolute rubbish. No, I can't believe that. And when you look at and study it tactically, we were all over the place. Defensively, there was no defensively. Simple as that. There was no defensively. Midfield, there was no midfield. De Bruyne and Gundogan had an absolute open field day. You know, they had a training session, let's be real. They got the ball and had all the space they needed. I mean, look at Roy Keane's comments after the game for Sky Sports. He said it himself. He said, I just can't understand why Chelsea don't throw any tackles in. It's just like they just want to allow Man City through, you know? And there's nothing being done to try and change that. This is my issue. There's nothing in terms of the game plan or the tactic to be done. Nothing's being changed here. We're resorting to the same way. That gets figured out. We've got no other alternative. We let in goals. That's it. So as far as I'm concerned, I have to face the truth of the situation. Frank Lampard is in a situation now where managers before him have been in the same situation, and every single one got the sack. No one has survived past this point. When you start hearing rumours about other names, I mean, there's names of Allegri, there's Nagelsmann, there's Tuchel, I even saw Shevchenko. I mean, flipping hell, Shevchenko. There's Brendan Rodgers, even though that won't happen because of history. We don't need to get into detail, but that won't happen. There's names popping left, right and centre. Every time that has happened, every time there's been legitimate links from reliable journalists like Liam Twomey and Simon Johnson illustrating that the manager is in trouble, no one has survived. Which tells me Frank Lampard is on limited time. I do not see this turning around. It's as simple as that. It's sad. It's tragic. Because we have to ask the question, our doubts at the beginning when he was hired, was he ready? Doesn't look like it at all. At all. And maybe we should have waited. Maybe. But right now, with the situation we're in, it's not looking good for Lamps. And I think it's a matter of when, not if I'm being completely real with you guys. I just don't see him surviving this. We'll see what happens. If there's any news that does come through, I will be sure to let you guys know. But in the meantime, I will see you tomorrow for a brand new video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your opinions on this. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. And I will see all of you tomorrow for a brand new video. Thank you so much for watching. Look after yourselves. Take care. And peace.